Listen to me now. Gonna say it loud. Don't get it twisted or what we're talking about. Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk with Charles. And today we have a special guest. We'll be talking about parenthood. Our special guest is Nikki. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Good. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I want to thank you, first of all, for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with me. And we're talking about parenthood. So,
All right.
okay. Do you have children?
I do. I have a 16-year-old daughter.
You have a 16-year-old daughter. Okay. So I'm going to take you back a little bit. Okay. Um, when you first found out that you were pregnant, what was the feeling? What was the feeling? And how did you actually respond to that? What did you think about it? How did you feel about it?
Well, I'll go back a little bit farther than that. So
Okay.
I was previously married. So during my first marriage, we had tried to have a child and unfortunately ended up in a miscarriage. And
Okay.
so I, truth be told, I didn't enjoy babysitting. I didn't like other people's kids, but I always had the innate feeling that I would want my own.
Right.
And so when I got married to my second husband, I was on contraception, so I was on the pill, and I got off the pill like the day that we got married,
Okay.
and it was not until 6 months later that I actually had gotten pregnant. So we were trying that whole time; it just wasn't happening. I ended up having to get on progesterone, which helps ovulation occur.
Okay.
And so it was a good 6 months in the work. So it was funny. I was doing a prep competition diet because I used to be a bodybuilder, and I think it was literally like the day or two after I stopped dieting that my body was like relaxed enough to actually conceive, and I got pregnant.
Okay.
And I was through the moon, like super excited, like something that I had been waiting for years to happen.
Right.
And it was just the most beautiful thing for me. Like I was ready for it. Everything that it brought, whatever the ups and downs that I was going to have to go through. And the only caveat to that is that when you get pregnant, you think about being pregnant, but you kind of don't think about the actual child coming out down the road.
Right. Right.
So it was all good emotions, all a lot of excitement, and a little bit of like, what's going to happen to my body type thing because of the profession that I'm in. But outside of that, it was pure elation and joy and excitement.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So most people I talk to, pregnancies aren't really planned. So you guys actually planned a pregnancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. So what did you have to give up? How was life so different for you after you had the child, after the child was here, compared to what life was like before you actually had the child?
So it's interesting because my lifestyle was so controlled as far as everything that I was doing with diet, exercise, and all of that. There really wasn't much that changed, to be honest. I was still going to the gym. I was doing everything that I was doing previously. I was eating right. I was taking care of myself. So through the pregnancy, nothing changed. And my goal was to compete in a bodybuilding show. And so it was already written in stone that like once I had stopped breastfeeding that I would actually start getting ready for a competition. And I was lucky to be able to breastfeed, and that ensued after. So I think the biggest thing for me was wow, there wasn't much that changed, to be honest. As soon as I was able to get back in the gym, I was back in the gym. I took that little girl in her carriage and got her in the car, and I took her out immediately.
Okay.
Like there was nothing that slowed me down from doing what I had already been doing in my lifestyle. I think the biggest hit, I will say this, was my relationship to my husband at the time.
Okay.
I was so enamored and so in love with this little girl that I think our relationship went a little bit to the wayside.
Right.
And we had determined that I would stay home for a while. I would be a stay-at-home mom. He would continue working.
Okay.
So his need and desire to provide amped up even more.
Right.
And so it kind of started pulling us apart, that I was completely inundated with Raven. I took on this I've got it attitude where I was like, all right, I'm taking care of the home. I'm taking care of her. I was doing everything that like a housewife would do. And so I think that was where things started to go awry a little bit. But I was still very steadfast in what I was doing. Very much, she went everywhere I went. There's nothing that slowed me down from doing what I was doing with weight training or my lifestyle or having friends or doing things. So it was really easy outside of the dynamic and the communication with my ex at the time. Everything else for me was pretty streamlined in the same.
Okay, so you basically lived on a schedule even prior to having the child. So you basically kept your same schedule, and just like you said, take the child with you. Take the child.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was lucky to. So I worked as a personal trainer at the time. We had already moved to Maryland, so we were in Maryland. I was originally working at Lifetime Fitness when I was first pregnant, and when I started to get a little bit bigger, I started to get like, I'm kind of over it, the whole working thing. And so at the end of my pregnancy, I actually worked in the Lifetime Fitness spa. And then I've always been a foodie, and I had the opportunity to work at a breadery. It was called the breadery. So I worked there part-time. I worked at the spa part-time. And then, so I transitioned out of personal training, like kind of straight into motherhood. I would say that the only thing that may have slowed me down was breastfeeding, honestly. It is in and of itself almost a full-time job. For women out there who do want to breastfeed, it's glorified as being something that's extremely easy to do, and it's not. It takes time. It takes time to like learn for the baby to latch on, how to hold the child, how long, and trying to read the signals of your child when they're hungry. They can't talk. You have to differentiate between cries and weird movements. And I know this might be a little bit graphic, but I mean, it kind of has to be, because if we're talking to teenagers, they got to know all the good and the bad and the dirty, the stinky, all the stuff. And the one thing that happened with me is that I produced a lot of breast milk, which was good. But it had me literally strapped to a breast pump for hours and hours and hours. And so that part took up a lot of my time. And it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel good. It's demand based. So if you want to keep up the supply for your child, you can, I was breastfeeding and pumping. So I was like in and out of that all day. And so I was just trying to save up as much milk as possible so that my daughter could solely rely on breast milk. That wasn't always the case. And that was another aspect. I would say the mental aspect of that. I wasn't able to breastfeed Raven right away, so I had to give her formula. So that was heart-wrenching for me, because I didn't want to put any of that junk in her body, but she had to survive. I mean, yeah, her weight dropped in the hospital, and I was like, my breast milk wasn't in, so I was like, you know what, I got to give you formula. So,
Right.
but after that, it was really good as far as how much I was producing, but it was very arduous and time consuming. And I would say that was the hardest part of the first like 4 to 6 months of her life was the breastfeeding part.
Well, um, that's the hard part for the man too, because I have my ex-wife, but she was breastfeeding, and
Yeah,
just like you said, it's always all the time. She's either pumping or feeding, one of the
yeah,
two, you know.
yep,
And then in the early stages, it's like every 2 hours, and so it's like, when do I get time with you? You know
right,
what I mean? So I totally understand, and that's just the same thing that happened with me.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, it's a great to watch a child grow, watch a child develop, and raise a child, but it can be trying when it comes to the relationship because you've been so used to it just being the two of you, and
right,
now you have a third one that needs all the attention. They need
yes,
all the attention. So um, it's really great, but I would say like you, so you weren't a teenager having a child.
right,
So your life was already structured.
yes,
You had the right timing. The timing was more so right for you.
yes.
Um, but now what is it like? You said your daughter's 16. So I know those 16 years went by fast.
Yes.
I know they did. So now, what is it like because you're now basically talking to another adult pretty much. Your conversations changed throughout the years.
Yes.
So what is it like now to have a person after teaching them so many years, a person that will come back to you and say what you said to them? That's a different feel. It was a different feeling for me. So what is that like?
Uh, so okay, I'm grappling with the fact that my child is more like me than I thought,
Uh-huh.
and to see all of me
Of
getting
you?
boomeranged right back at me is crazy.
Right.
So I hate to say it, and I think a lot of parents can say the same thing. She is probably the worst of both of us right now.
At that age, right.
Every nasty thing that you could say about me at any point in time and her father, it's like together at
Together.
once.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and given the nature of how our teenagers are growing up right now and the added pressures and the social media, and I have never seen anything like this. I
Right.
couldn't even fathom in my mind when I decided to have a child, my upbringing and my childhood came forward to me as how I would want her to be raised.
Right.
And
Right.
that was in my heart what I wanted for her. And I couldn't give it to her. And I still deal with that guilt today. So I'm meeting her where she's at because she's in a very different place, a very different world than when I was 16. So um I know a lot of people hate the saying, like, this is new for me. I've never been a mom type thing, but it really is true.
It
And
is.
it's my one and my only.
Mhm.
But it's also that I've never been through what she's been through.
Right.
Like I can't empathize with her on everything because I've not been through what she's been through.
Right.
And I'm trying to learn through her and
Mhm.
trying to give her the space to be who she is.
Right.
And that's been the hardest thing because it goes through things and I can't even like simulate that in my brain. And
Mhm.
sometimes I just have to take a step back, and it causes a lot of friction because I don't get it. So it's like my brain isn't wired to I can't dissect it and break it down and understand it so that I can communicate with her. So
Right.
one thing that we've really been working on is our communication, and I've tried to step back so that I can be less defensive,
Yes.
less reactionary,
Yes.
and that has allowed us to go leaps and bounds forward in our relationship, and especially over the last 4 months. I'm understanding her a little bit better. It's literally okay. It's literally like having a child all over again, because like a baby.
Right.
Because I have to know when she's hangry. I have to know when she's tired.
Right.
Like she doesn't communicate these things. So it's literally like she's 1 year old and can't talk, and I have to
Right.
guess where she's at.
Yes.
And so that never really changes.
And and things are so much different now than I totally understand, because I wanted to raise my child the way I was raised,
Yes.
but the times are different. The times are different. Even the words that they use,
Yes.
the words that they use, and it's like, well, that's not what that means. Well, yes, it is. That's what it means. That's not what it means. I know what it means, right? So you go through that phase, but my son is 22 now. He just graduated college last month, and it changes, or you kind of adapt to their world. You kind of adapt to their world, but they have to tell you what their world is. Tell me what this means. I remember a time I was driving for Uber, and the college is like 5 minutes away. So I was driving for Uber Eats. So I went to the Popeyes. I picked up the order, and the lady, she says, this girl, she goes to school with my son. She says, "Are you going outside?" And I'm thinking, I'm outside, right? I'm outside now. Right. And that actually meant I kind of had to play it off, like I knew what it meant. So what I did, I asked her, "Well, are you going outside?" I just kind of gave it back to her. And so I asked my son, I was like, "What does going outside mean?" Because this girl asked me today if I was going outside. And I said I was already outside because I wasn't home. And he just fell out laughing. And so he had to explain to me what these words mean, So you do have to like turn the reins over to them and then allow them to teach you, and then there will come a time where you're like pretty much even. You won't be all the way there, because their words keep changing like every day, So I understand more now, and then he'll say something, I'll just look at it. So he has to explain to me what he just said. But it does get better. I don't think I'll ever catch up, but it's really a lot of fun, because you have to put yourself in the position, not as the child, but you have to be the one who's learning from them, instead of teaching them all the time. It has to be that transition does come, and it's right around that 14, 15, 16-year-old age. And then you become on a level. You become on a level, and you start to understand each other. So that was like so interesting to me. And that's why I asked you, because, at 16, it's like, I know she's going through some stuff, you know what I mean? And they have their own things that they don't really want to tell you, or think you're too old to understand.
Right.
Well, I'm not too old to understand,
Like, we wrote this book for you.
Exactly. And it's like every day can be different. There's no guidelines to parenting. You're learning this day by day. You're learning it day by day. And you don't always make the right choices. You make the choices sometimes that would fit you when you were 16. But it doesn't fit.
No.
In today's world, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, and I feel like things are changing so much faster now, with the language, with the expressions, with, like, I don't ever remember talking to my parents the way our kids talk to us. Like, we still had that respect where, well, one, we didn't really talk back. We spoke to them as they spoke to us.
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't much of a language barrier, but it feels like I'm talking to someone from a different country half the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And even my coworker, she's 23, so just a little bit older than your son, and
Mhm.
Raven and her have the same language.
Yes.
And so when I hear the
Yes.
older one speak it, I just laugh. I'm like, oh my God, you sound just like my daughter. And they're
Yeah.
all in the same generation. So
Yeah.
it's really cute to see a full blown adult talking the same way.
Right.
And it's, I don't know, I just like that I can be in the presence of it all the time now. And it's not so foreign. I still don't
Right.
understand it, but I enjoy hearing it.
Yes. And you just have to, because I'm at a point where I have to sit back and listen more than I talk. Because if I'm listening, then I can grab it and may not have to ask somebody what it means. I can kind of grab it through their conversation,
Yeah.
and the thing I like, my son, he involves me with his friends. He's in the organization, couple organizations on campus, and he brings everybody to me, so I'm like the father
Yeah.
away from home,
Yeah.
you know, and these guys, they're talking, and it's like, I caught part of that, but that last part, I don't know what you were talking about, right?
Yeah,
But
it's like if you, like you said, if you start to listen more, you can get the context.
yes, yes,
Hopefully, hopefully the
hopefully,
context of the situation and kind of fit in those words to what
uh-huh,
the message is saying, even though you
yeah,
don't know exactly what they're saying.
yeah. It's like filling in the blanks,
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
you're listening to them, and sometimes you still have to ask them, what you mean by that?
Yeah, yeah,
What do
yeah,
you mean by that?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's really interesting. Before we go, I'm gonna ask you this: what 14, 15, 16-year olds, what advice would you have for young girls
Mhm.
on parenthood? Because what I've seen is most kids that age, they want to have sex.
Yeah,
And what happens, they do, and then they become a parent. They have to co parent with somebody else that they probably don't even really like that much,
yeah,
not to be co parenting with them, and that's not the person that you would want to raise a family with.
right.
So uh, we have to find a way to get them to
Yeah.
make better choices. And I think listening to like yourself and listening to other people's stories
Hmm.
will help them make better choices at a younger age.
Yeah,
Because once you're pregnant, you
yeah.
know, and whoever the father is or whoever the mother is, that's who you
Mhm.
got. And you got
Yeah,
them for a lifetime, you know.
yep.
That's not just the 18 years and you can let them go, because at 18, your child's going to need you more than they did at
Hmm.
5. I promise you, they're going to need you more. And you have to go through these different life cycles with them and teach them the different stages. What's going to happen at this stage? When you get this age, your mind is going to be totally different than what it is
Right,
right now. So you kind of have to guide them and lead them through all of these different steps. So,
right.
what would you say to young girls about parenthood?
About parenting, or like actually becoming a parent, or as a means to preventing parenting.
More so preventing.
Preventing. Okay, so for me, I wasn't sexually active until I was 19. So I am watching kids now, and you're not going to stop. Like, my advice would not be to stop young women from having sex, young girls, because it's not going to happen. I
Right.
think that's just we're going to get nowhere with that.
Right.
And I don't think scare tactics work. I think that when you do that, they push back even harder. I know
Yeah.
for me, I would. If you're going to tell me no, I'm going to go do it.
Right.
And so the best advice I would say is to, I would say protection first and foremost. If it's something that you're thinking about doing, understanding what resources that you may have available as far as contraception and what's available at the school, or knowing if there's a hotline that's available where you can call in privacy to get that protection that you need.
Right.
That would be first and foremost. It's really hard to say, try to understand who you are, because even at my age, I don't 100% understand who I am.
Right.
I think if you can just take that few 3, 4, 5 breaths before you make that decision, will allow you to step back and say, is this something that I really want to do? And what are the consequences that will ensue? And I think if they can just take that extra moment of thinking about it, like, I think they should start thinking about it now. Like, when I was growing up, I had sex ed in 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get my period till I was 16, and I'm like, we're talking about, I don't even want to kiss a boy, and I'm learning about this stuff now. But at this day and age, I would love to see it, and even in the middle schools and then elementary schools, and getting educated. But aside from that, I would say get protection right away if you can. That's a tough one. It really is, because I'm 46, so I'm coming from a very, very, very different day and age.
Yes.
I almost want to say think before you act, but they won't.
Right.
I would ask, are you ready to give life? They won't care.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Maybe have someone that you can talk to.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a parent. It doesn't have to be someone too much older.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you can have a support group of people that you can talk to, whether they can help you or not, to actually be able to verbalize what you're going through and what you're thinking, may allow you to think out loud in the capacity to stop yourself, or to, again, protect yourself. It's just that barrier between wanting to and actually doing it. So any steps that you can put in between yourself and actually having sex and, going forth and having a child will give you time to kind of think about the steps of what you're actually doing. So it's a really hard time to really have advice when things move so fast. So I would say first and foremost to have a couple people that you can talk to, you can really talk to, that you can confide in, and that you feel will have your best interest in mind.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that would be my best advice.
All right. Well, Nikki, I really, really appreciate you taking your time to share your knowledge and your wisdom with me. And we're going to prevent some pregnancies. This has been a really interesting interview, because you come from a different place than the other interviews that I've had so far.
Okay.
So I've really enjoyed it, and I want to thank you again for taking your time to have a conversation with me. And yes, you enjoy the rest of your evening, okay?
All right, you too. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Listen to me now.
All right, good night.
Gonna say it loud. Don't get it twisted what we're talking about.